Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, why don't you take a few moments? Why don't you say hello, make someone feel loved who is near you, maybe not so near you, and then we'll get back to this. Well, good morning. It is so great to be with you here today, worshiping God together, and just seeking Him with our hearts. I know this time of year gets busy, and let's not forget that the reason why we're here together and throughout this season is to, one, love each other, but also love God, and with grateful hearts be seeking Him. So if you are new, and you guys can take a seat for a moment. If you guys are new here, if you're anybody here who's new or new-ish, we want to welcome you and turn your attention to a beautiful little boxy QR code that you'll see on our screen or behind your chairs there. It's a place where you can go if you are new. It actually helps us to get to know you. You can fill out a little bit of information about yourself on that link there. And we want to better just get you acquainted with who we are and where we're going and how we're wanting to partner with God. And so that's one way that you can get to know us, and we can get to know you, and we want to know you're here. It's also a place where you can go for prayer. We want to be praying for you. You can put your prayer requests there. We want to be walking alongside you as we know that this life gets a little hairy and crazy, and we want to be praying alongside you. It's also a place where we can partner together and where you can partner with your finances. We want to be moving forward and blessing this community and this world with all that we are, our time, talent, and our treasures. It's actually a really great time to introduce Matt Bleckley. We want to come on up. This is also a spot. If you follow this QR code, it is not only just your normal standard QR code, but it's a Christmas QR code as well.
Yeah, so our QR code's a little bit, has a couple extra little things on it that we want to invite you to during this Christmas season. And the first one is we're about ready to start a series called Where is Christmas? And so we're going to get to discover a little bit of that this morning with Pastor Kyle, and he's going to share his heart for this journey that we're on to discover Christmas. And we're like, man, how can we help everybody discover Christmas? And so we created a geocache activity for you all to go and discover Christmas. And it starts right out in front of our church. If you head out over by our church sign out on the street, somewhere out there you'll find an ornament that looks just like this one. If you go into the QR code, you can kind of cheat and you can pull up the exact location of it. So there's a pitch for scanning the QR code, but mostly we want to invite you to go find Christmas. And so the first one is Christmas. It has a different link on the back, and if you scan that, it's going to give you four more places to go discover, to find where is peace, where is hope, where is love, and where is joy during the season. And it's going to take you on a little journey throughout Roseville, kind of mostly West Roseville, maybe a little bit of downtown, maybe something else. You won't have to go inside of anywhere. It's out and about in a parking lot or on a tree. And so you're going to look around and be able to discover. And each step of the way, it's inviting you to both use your head to discover Jesus, to read about the story of Christmas, but also to use your hands and to invite you to invest and be involved in the process of bringing hope, joy, peace, and love to others. And so as you go, you might go and say, I want to just do one, and go do one and find the challenge and live that out. You might go, man, that was so fun. We have to go do all of it. But we would love to invite you in that season to experience where is Christmas with us. And one extra thing that we want to invite you to this season is on December 19th, we're going to transform our parking lot. We're going to have a living nativity experience here. And our heart is for this to be something that's big, that everybody can come to, that you can invite your friends to just get a little sense of the Christmas season. And that's on Tuesday, December 19th, just one night from 6 to 8 p.m. So would love for you to join us in this Christmas season in some new things that we're doing and discovering with God.
Thanks, Matt. Let's stand together. Let's let all the busyness, all of the things that happen along the way during this Christmas season, and let the presence of God just fill us this morning as we give him the worth and the adoration that belongs to him. In your presence, there is freedom. In your presence, there is hope. In your presence, there is healing. Love restores me. I am whole. No matter how far I run, you are with me. No matter how far I fall. Let's sing this out. Your love is everlasting. Your kindness never ends. God, you never leave me. Your presence goes before us. Your glory has no end. God, you never leave me. In your presence, there is power. Through your spirit, strength will rise. In your presence, there is mercy. In your presence, I'm alive. No matter how far I run, you are with me. No matter how far I fall. Your love is everlasting. Your kindness never ends. God, you never leave me. Your presence goes before us. Your glory has no end. God, you never leave me. Let's sing this out. You will be our guide to the end, to the end. The Lord is with me. He will not forsake me. You will be our guide to the end, to the end. The Lord is with me. He will not forsake me. Hey! Your love is everlasting. Your kindness never ends. God, you never leave me. Your presence goes before us. Your glory has no end. God, you never leave me.
Let's invite him in. His presence among us this morning. Give him our worship. It's time for the sleeper to wake. It's time for the old winds to change. I hear the Spirit say, it's time. It's time for the dead man to rise. It's time for the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Come riding on your people's praise. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Oh, let him in. It's time for the sleeper to wake. It's time for the old winds to change. I hear the Spirit say it's time. It's time for the dead man to rise. It's time for the great light to shine. I hear the Spirit say it's time. Fling wide you heavenly gates. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Come riding on your people's praise. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Fling wide you heavenly gates. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Come riding on your people's praise. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Let the light in, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Let the light in, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Let the light in, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Let the light in, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Open up the windows, let the light in. Let the light in, let the light in. Fling wide heavenly gates. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Come riding on your people's praise. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Fling wide you heavenly gates. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Come riding on your people's praise. Let the King of glory in. Let the King of glory in. Hey.
Continue to press into this moment. Just be still for a little bit. Take time to listen to what God has to tell you. Be still and know that the Lord is in control. Be
Don't let go. Be still my heart and know I won't be afraid. Be still and trust what the Lord has said is done. Find rest, don't strive. Watch His faith and grace align. I won't be afraid. You are here. You silence all my fear. I won't be afraid. Don't let go. Be still my heart and know I won't be afraid. I won't be
Amen to that. Hey, you guys, why don't you take a seat? So we need a spotlight up here. Come on. Ah, yes. I know what you're asking. You're saying, Will, don't you think it's a little bit too early for this? And I would say, yes, it is a little too early. But I know you have a second question. The follow-up question is, well, what's inside the box? I'm glad you asked that because you know what? Kyle's been asking this question for the last several weeks because this is what we're doing here for the next several weeks is we are going to be discovering what's inside this box as he's been put to the task, Kyle that is, to unwrap this gift, to pull the contents from inside, show all of you, and then his task, his challenge is to connect the object inside this box with the Advent season. So lo and behold, this is called the Advent Mystery Box. So he's gonna be discovering, where is peace? Where is hope? Where is love? Where is joy? And I'm really excited about this because one, I think it's gonna be difficult. But if it's not difficult, it's gonna be a whole heck of a lot of fun. Kyle, why don't you come on up here? Let's give him a hand. One of many.
Will, this is one of the, they say there's no bad ideas in brainstorming? This is one of them. And as we look at the Advent mystery box and look at this thing, where is Christmas? Where is joy? Where is peace? I want to know, Will, where is your annual review sheet? That's what I want to know. Yeah, so here we go. Here we go. This is kind of light. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, here we go. So, where is peace? And can I... As if I'm not flustered enough as it is. Here we go. Okay, Target. Looks like something that would show up on my porch. Here we go. Oh, here we go. What the? Oh, no. Will, I'm worried about cultural appropriation here, Will. I was worried about how I was going to make it connect. Now I'm worried about how I'm not going to get canceled pulling out a small little sombrero. It's interesting, as I think about this sombrero, I think of Cinco de Mayo, I think of that time of celebration. And I think one of the things I realized is that this season is a season of celebration, of parties, of gathering, of tradition. Again, just like Cinco de Mayo, we get together. But sometimes what I've realized is sometimes our gatherings don't feel that peaceful. Sometimes you go to that family thing and you do it every year, but you're like, oh, I don't like it. And everything inside of you is the opposite of peaceful. It's anxious because we know what's gonna happen. There's those holiday parties that you're like, oh my gosh, it's just one more thing I've gotta do. And I know I'm supposed to put on the face and celebrate, but deep down, there's something inside of me that's fighting it. Maybe it's the busyness, maybe it's the stress, maybe it's all of those conflicts that have been swept under the rug. And in this time, what I want to tell you, friends, is the human heart is big enough to do both. You can celebrate the coming of Jesus, his love for the world, the opportunity to get together and celebrate those things. And at the same time, there's times where you can take it off and say, this for me is not a season of celebration because it's the first Christmas I spend without that loved one. I remember every time we get together with family, I realize that I love these people, and it's not as it's supposed to be. So in these moments, I want to give you the opportunity, just like this, to put on the celebration as a practice, as a gift, and let it create peace in your heart, and ideally in your relationships, and also take time to take it off and say, God, the world is not as it should be. There are wars happening that are not as it should be, and in those moments, I grieve. And you realize the human heart is big enough for two things: to celebrate the goodness of God, and to name that the world is not as it should be. And the place in the middle between those is where we figure out what is God doing in the midst of it. So this morning, friends, let me just ask you, what do we do when we see how the world is supposed to be, celebrate what it could be, and realize that it's not? What do? We find ourselves in the middle, and that's what we're talking about this morning. So with that, thank you for not getting me canceled, Will. You can clear, no, just leave it, it's fine. It's good, leave it. So he cleans up my messes all the time. So it's interesting as we think about this idea of what do we do in the middle. I've always been a planner. When I was a kid, I had a plan. When I grew up, I was gonna be one of two things. Either I wanted to be an attorney, or what I called it in sixth grade, a high-tech weapons engineer. What that means is I watched too much G.I. Joe and like Star Trek things, and I was fascinated with this idea of creating high-tech weapons. Or I could be an engineer or a lawyer. Both of them I liked because I could use my words and my wit to show that I was smarter than everyone else around me. And as my mom found out I wanted to be an attorney or high-tech weapons engineer, my mom looked at me at sixth grade and she said, Kyle, I hope that you build weapons of mass destruction instead of becoming an attorney. I'm like, what? She said this, and I quote, if you build weapons of mass destruction, those bombs may never be dropped. But if you are an attorney, I know with your words and your wit, you will ruin people's lives with it. Thanks, Mom. Some of you grew up with participation trophies. I don't know what those things are. I grew up with this honest truth. And it's interesting, while I think maybe she could have been kinder, nicer, more encouraging, yes, she was onto something. For me, I thought my words and my wit were my power. They were the things I trusted. When I felt insecure, they were my go-to. Why? I could never use my physical strength. I'm a second-born brother. My big brother would always pound me. He was always more powerful than I was. But I could debate that boy under the table, and he didn't stand a chance. And he hated it, so he punched me. And in this moment, there was this absence of peace. But I had my way. But it's interesting, as I think about this, I think we all have our own approach to peace. For me, peace came from me being smart enough, having words and wit. That was my power. That's what I trusted. And using those things, I could develop a peaceful life. My older brother had a different way. He was physically stronger. He could thunk me. Some of us, we use other things. We use our relational skills. Either the ability to please others creates peace, or the ability to avoid or hide or remove yourself from vulnerability. Why? Because in that, we can remain at peace. If we look around the world, everyone has their own narrative, their own idea of what does and doesn't bring peace. Is it having the strongest military? Is it having a thriving economy? Is it the right governmental system? Is it something else? And in this moment, what I realized is that even as I got older, wiser, I realized that I still use those same things. Even today, as a 40-year-old adult, I still try and use my words and my wit to protect and create peace. And can I tell you something? It does not always go well for me. I still find myself in difficult relationships and conversations. I still find my internal mental health a lack of peace and that heightened anxiety. You know, I was driving here this morning, and every Sunday morning I get to take one of my boys with me, my 7-year-old and my 10-year-old. We call it my special helper, which really just means they get to hang out with me and high five everyone and eat food in the green room before service. And I was telling my 7-year-old Noah today, I said, hey, buddy, you know I still get nervous and anxious every time I go up there? He's like, well, then, Daddy, why do you do it? I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know. But I realize my words and my wit still don't protect me from this lack of internal peace. You been there? You ever have that thing in your life that makes you feel at peace or makes you believe that there will be peace around you, and then that thing fails you? For me, it was my words and my wit. For you, maybe it's your people skills. Maybe in the last 8 to 10 years, you thought one of the things that gave us peace was our sense of our government and the justice and values that we upheld. And now you realize, oh, I don't trust that anymore. Maybe you thought that we had become older, wiser, and our society has progressed in such a way that now we will have peace. And then we see terror and war and bombings and realize it's not there. You know, it's interesting. The beginning of the 20th century, there was a Christian publication known as, what was it called? It was called The Christian Century. And the idea behind this was because technology and society had come so far that the 20th century would be the greatest century in the history of the world. There would be less wars, famine, disease. And we were wrong. We thought because of our progress, there'd be less wars, and there was actually more people who died in the 20th century due to war than any other. In the 20th century, there were more slaves, and even today, there's more slaves on the planet than any time in human history. And as we look around, we realize that our geopolitical, our national, our familial, and even our internal peace seems to be missing. So in this question, we ask, where is peace? And it seems like it's nowhere to be found. But let me warn you, the places where I'm afraid you're finding it today may feel like they're good enough today, but at some point, they might fail you. So where do we find peace? Where do we find perfect peace? That's the question we asked this morning. And that's the gift that I believe God wants you to unwrap. So if you have your Bibles, go and turn to Isaiah. Isaiah is a prophet who writes about 800 years before Jesus. It's Isaiah chapter 26. And let me set the stage for you. Isaiah is known as one of the major prophets. Not major because he's more important. Major and minor prophets are just differentiated by how many chapters they have in the Bible. Isaiah is writing at a time where the Israelites experienced a civil war. North and south had been divided. And then right after that happens, these people called the Assyrians march across the Fertile Crescent. They're the most powerful geopolitical military force of the day. They march across and they destroy all of the northern kingdom, all of Israel, and Israel is left in shambles. The small southern kingdom, Judah and one other tribe, are left standing. And in the midst of this, they see burnt buildings, they see families ripped apart, they see their whole cultural lifestyle being infiltrated by this, and even some of their best and brightest have been taken from Israel to Assyria. And in the midst of this thing that has no peace at all, the prophet Isaiah says this in Isaiah chapter 26. Let's begin reading in verse 3. Isaiah 26, verse 3. The prophet says this to a people. He says this, God will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Honestly, perfect peace sounds awesome. I don't know if it's the alliteration that they both start with P, but perfect peace sounds awesome. So what is perfect peace? How do we keep our minds steadfast? And what does it mean to trust? How do we get this perfect peace? You know, it's interesting, as I was reading this passage, the Bible nerd in me knew something. I was like, whoa, something that doesn't make sense here. I was sleuthing around, and it's the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible is written in Hebrew, and this term perfect peace, perfect is not a Hebrew term. Hebrew, perfect is actually a Greek philosophical term. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense that would be the word that's translated from the Hebrew. That doesn't make any sense. So I said, what is peace and what is perfect peace? So, you know, I start sleuthing around, and by that I mean I'm asking ChatGPT to do all of my sermon research for me. And so I'm finding out, if you don't laugh at that, well, whatever, it's fine. So I look at this word shalom. The word for peace I knew is the word shalom. The Hebrew word for shalom, peace is not an absence of conflict. That was me as a people-pleasing middle child. My definition of peace has always been the absence of conflict. But that's actually not the Hebrew word. Shalom talks about a holistic peace in which every aspect of your life is at peace. And not only that, it has thriving relationship. So for me to have shalom means me and my neighbors, my family, my people, we have a thriving connection and relationship. It means me and God, we have a thriving connection and relationship. Me and my own self and my own heart and mind have a healthy, strong, thriving relationship. And even me or my people and the world around me are thriving. So if shalom is this holistic peace in which all things together are united by strong bonds and relationships, if that is shalom, I want that. But if there's perfect shalom, what is that? So I was looking it up and said, what is the word for perfect here? If the word for peace is shalom, what is the word for perfect? It's also shalom. Huh? You see, what God is doing here, what the author is doing here, is using this repetition to say that there's a peace that you know, that you're familiar with, that you can define, but there's a peace greater than that that you can't quite understand. And I'm gonna try and emphasize that for you. The emphasis might look something like this. If you're communicating and you're like, yo, dude, that means something. But if I'm like, yo, dude, oh man, what's going on here? There's this emphasis, there's this peace that's beyond anything you could ever know. And if that's possible, I want it. And if it's possible, how would I get it? You been there? Anyone else trying to figure that out? And it says this, he will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast. So I was like, what does it mean to be steadfast? There's a peace beyond what I understand, I get that. But what does it mean to be steadfast? And the Hebrew word for steadfast could best be defined by this. Or maybe like this. This word steadfast just means to lean, to rest, to put your weight on. Which to me, as someone who's highly anxious, was so freeing. I thought for me to be steadfast on him was like being hypervigilant, be steadfast, steadfast. And what it does is it makes me nervous because I'm not being steadfast enough. You know what I mean? Keep my mind focused. Oh my gosh, there's social media, there's distraction, there's all these things. Oh my gosh, I'm horrible. Oh. And I realized how much energy I put into this, thinking that it was all up to me and my ability. And what I was really doing was leaning on my own willpower. And let me tell you, my willpower is broken and doesn't work sometimes. So this idea of a restful leaning, this idea that, hey, I'm gonna take a load off and lean on God. In the midst of a crazy holiday season, in the midst of everything, this seems like a gift. I could have peace beyond what I can fathom. And it takes leaning. But what type of it? To be in perfect peace, to be in shalom, shalom, to lean on God, those who minds. This was the other word I had to look up, minds. This Hebrew word for mind is complicated. This word for mind throughout the Bible gets translated in these 8 ways, which means you know it's difficult to translate. Those whose minds are leaning on him, those whose intentions lean on God, plans lean on God, purposes lean on God, frame, and this word framing isn't like a picture frame, though that would be cool. It's like framing a house, like the entire thing is built and leveled on God. It also gets translated mind, obviously. Formed, creation, and finally, what they are inclined. What does that mean? Let me bring it all to you. There is peace greater than you could ever understand. If some part of you leans on God, and what is that part? Is it your mind? It's more than that. It's the deepest core of who you are. When that part leans on God, instead of whatever else, your wit and wisdom, your people skills, your politics, your army, your savings account, your accolades, when the deepest core part of who you are leans on God, you will experience peace that you've never experienced before. What Isaiah is saying here to a people whose lives have been obliterated by war, whose families have been divided, who've lost loved ones, he says this: there is peace beyond what you could ever think. But peace doesn't begin by conquering the Assyrians, by rebuilding your military, by rebuilding your economy. Peace begins within. Peace begins within. Peace begins within. What does that mean or look like? It sounds kind of Zen or something like that. So let me just clarify. Here's what I think Prophet Isaiah is saying. All right, here we go. Let me illustrate what it means and looks like for peace to begin within. Everyone know what this is? This is water. No trick question. No, this is water. And if I pour water and I fill this with water, and I'm sitting here going around like this, I am holding this, I'm caring for it, and what I'm trying to do, it feels like a youth group game. I'm walking around without trying to spill it. And in the middle of it, if there's water inside and all of a sudden there's an earthquake because we live in California and oh my God, uh-oh, what just happened? It's not a trick question. What just happened? Water spilled. Why did water spill? Because you're a knucklehead. Other than that, why did water spill? Here's the point, friends. There will always be earthquakes. There will always be challenges. There will always be wars. There will always be family conflict. There will always be stressors in your life. That is a part of life, and God just names it. He's not so grandiose. Oh, no, your life's going to be perfect. No. It's not that. But what he does say is that when the earthquake hits you, what is it? The thing that is at the deepest core of who you are, the thing that fills you up is what will come out in the storm, in the earthquake. So when my thing deepest within is my wit and my wisdom, I will immediately go to my wit and my wisdom to try and figure out how to solve it. When anxiety is at the core of who I am, when things get, what comes out, it's more anxiety. But when the thing that is the deepest part of me is deep trust in God above all other things, including trust more than I trust myself, that's when peace comes out. And in that, the greatest reflection of who and what you really trust is what do you go to or what comes out of you in the midst of the earthquakes. Now we can be more honest with ourselves. When there's a problem at work and all of a sudden people at work don't like you so much, what's the first thing you go to? Is the first thing you go to, well, the management is bad. That means you trust the management the most. No, I can fix this. I'm really good at fixing this. Or I can just leave and go get another job. I can fix it myself. Versus when things go really bad at work, you come to God and say, God, what are you doing here? I hate this situation. This is uncomfortable. I feel vulnerable and insecure because I wonder if I did something wrong. I'm angry because I feel like management messed up. And I'm confused because I don't know what way is right and what way is wrong. And in that midst of that, what you go to and what comes out of you shows your deepest trust. So the invitation is this. No matter what goes wrong in life, and things will go wrong, the thing that you trust most is the thing that will come out in the midst of conflict. So, I want to continually be filling myself with godliness, with peace, with his scripture, with words of encouragement. I want to continue to be filled in that because that's how I get to perfect peace. I get perfect peace when I am deeply trusting in him. What would that look like? What does it take? I feel like this one verse could be a sermon by itself, but I love the way that Isaiah describes it. Another way for you to help you understand what is the thing that you trust the most. So jump back up to verse 1. Jump back up to verse 1. We'd start with this idea that peace begins within, but there's more to it. And this is what Isaiah says. In that day, this song will be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. God makes salvation its walls and its ramparts. Open the gates. The righteous nation may enter, the nation that keeps faith. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. He repeats this word, trust in the Lord forever. For the Lord himself, is the rock eternal. He humbles those who dwell on high. He lays the lofty city low. He levels it to the ground. He casts dust upon it. What? It's interesting, as I was reading this, I noticed this word city. You see city in verse 1? That those who trust God, they will be in a city. And those who are lofty, those who are arrogant, those who trust themselves are also in a city. And so I was like, oh my gosh, there's this repetition here. The author, Isaiah, is trying to draw my attention to this word city. What is he doing there? So again, I went sleuthing around, and I learned something this week. I want to share that with you. The word in verse 1 and verse 5 is both translated in English as city, but the Hebrew word is different. And let me teach it to you. The word in verse 1 is kiryah. Or if you want to sound really, really smart, kiryah. You just emphasize or anything, you sound smarter and more spiritual than anyone. That's what I do. So verse 1 is a kiryah. In verse 5, city is different. It's translated ear, not like ear like this. Like think of those of you who study Spanish, like ear to go, like crazy little punctuation thing than IR. And it's interesting, as I was trying to figure out what's the difference, I learned this. The idea of a kiryah would be like a fortified fortress city. Those who trust in the Lord are in a fortified fortress city. And those who are arrogant are in an ear. What kind of city is that? The way I'd like to describe it is those who trust in God live in a kiryah, a fortified cities, and those who trust in themselves live in an ear, which is like a treehouse. And what he's doing is saying, whoa, when the battles come, what do you trust more? And everyone in here is a smart person. You're like, well, obviously I want to be in the fortress. Tree houses are cool in peacetime, but in reality, like, I don't want to do that. Like, when people are rolling up on me, I don't want any part of that tree house. Give me that fortress, right? Well, if that's the case, why would anyone want to live in the tree house? Why would anyone want to live in the ear instead of the kiryah? Why would we do this? I'm glad you asked. Why would anyone want to live in the less fortified city? Let me tell you about the Battle of Liegnitz. The year is 1240. The Mongols, again, some descendants of Genghis Khan, are marching across, and they finally make their way to Europe. They're in Poland. And when the Mongols get there, they've developed this new technology. It's actually a new modified bow and arrow. It shoots farther straighter, but it's shorter and smaller, which means it's more maneuverable. This was the first time people could actually go and ride on horseback and shoot. And so what they've been doing is they've been marching along and they've been destroying everybody. The Mongols are bad news. So they come to Poland. In Poland, you got to think at this point, you still have Christendom reigning throughout Europe. Imagine strong knights, Teutonic knights like you would see in some versions of the holy wars that were going on. And all of a sudden, these Mongols roll up on this fortified city with these strong knights, and they look at each other, and the folks in the city in Poland, they look and see the weakness, the lack of armor. They look at their own, they see their armor. They're in steel, in mail, in helmets. The men and the women, or the men go out to fight, the women and the children go up on a hill, and they're literally watching the battle, thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the easiest thing ever. You see, they have been fighting wars for centuries. They have stronger armor, stronger, bigger horses, and they have this military way that if they just keep the line, if they just keep next to each other and don't let anyone penetrate the line, we can't lose. And so we're just gonna go, and here these weak little Mongols will be in trouble. And that's what happens. They open the city gates. These Polish folks start rolling out these knights slowly, strongly, securely. Never break the line, because if you break the line, you're in trouble. And they approach these Mongols who have come across half the world. And all of a sudden, the Mongols' line starts to collapse. All of a sudden, these knights start breaking in and they realize, oh my gosh, we've won the war. The kids up on the hill are like, yeah, daddy, go. And all of a sudden, there's this moment where the Mongols are losing their lines and the Europeans think, oh, we've won. Until they learned this. Until they learned that the Mongols realized they can fight better on the move. And they actually let them come and penetrate that line so that they'd now be surrounded and they could use their superior weapons to then take down these knights. What they found is that a Mongol could ride on a horse at full speed and shoot an arrow and hit the place where the armor didn't quite defend. And in that, the Mongols go and take down this fortified city. Why? Because they were so sure that their city, that their armor, that their military tactics were better. They didn't just win the battle. The Mongols went and burned the entire town after raiding it and taking everything they wanted. You see, friends, what Scripture's teaching here is what history has taught us. And I can give you a dozen other examples of times throughout history where people thought that their city was so strong, that their armor, their fortifications, their plan were so good, until it wasn't strong enough and they lost it. Friends, this is the invitation. The humble say, I will trust in God and he will become my kiryat. He will be my fortification. The lowly or the arrogant say, I will go and I will trust myself. And in that I realize it's strong until it's no longer strong enough. And when the earth quakes, I realize it doesn't quite make it. So friends, perfect peace begins within by asking yourself this question: what or who do you trust more than anything else at the core of your being? Do you trust your wit and your wisdom? Your relational skills? Your resume? Your bank account? Or do you trust the one who maybe you can't see, but he lives inside of you and creates perfect peace and protection that no one else can give, that no missile can penetrate, no evil can destroy? In this moment, I want to encourage you to ask that question deep in your heart. But before you go and say, no, I want to trust Jesus. I want to trust the Bible. I want to trust his words. I want to trust him more than I trust myself. Before you kind of jump over that edge, let me tell you something. There's a reason you may not want to do that. And that reason is verse 6. I didn't pack water. I loved verses 1 through 5, if I can be honest with you. But verse 6 made no sense. I went all sermon research nerd on 1 through 5, and I totally got it. And when I got to verse 6, I was like, it doesn't make sense. Listen to this. You'll just know. If you have your head screwed on straight, you're like, this doesn't make sense. Verse 6 says this. Feet trample it down. That is, feet trample it down. What is that? That is the ear. That is the city of the lofty. That is the tree house gets trampled down. How? By the feet of the oppressed, the footsteps of the poor. What? Wait. The feet of the oppressed, step on the oppressed. Wait. The poor trample over the, that doesn't make any sense. No. That doesn't make any sense. Anyone who has their brains on realize that whoever's the strongest, has the strongest army wins, right? We live in a world that we see it. Again, this is not I'm not trying to make a culture war thing, but the rich dominate the poor, right? The powerful tread on the powerless. And this idea of trusting God is when he's the most powerful force in the world, I can do that. I can trust the fortified walls and strength of God. But can I trust in powerlessness? Can I trust for the powerless to overcome the powerful? That seems crazy, right? And it is. But Isaiah, 800 years before the coming of Jesus Christ, to a people who have been oppressed and poor and defeated by the Assyrians, looks forward 800 years to when a poor baby would be born into a manger. He'd be the picture of poverty. He would be chased out of his country at a young age of roughly 2 as kind of a political dissonant, as a threat to the power structure. He'd live as a middle class carpenter, artisan, no formal training, who'd then be killed and crucified, naked, powerless. And somehow the God of the universe, who became the most powerless by giving his life on the cross, becomes the most powerful one of all. And he defeats not only the Romans, but he defeats sin and death and evil itself. You see, in Jesus, we see this world turned upside down, where the poor, vulnerable God exerts his power not through military might, but by his life, death, and resurrection. And in that, he gives hope. He gives hope to you today who feel defeated and powerless and feel like it's never gonna get better. He says, I was there, I was crucified, I was dead, and I came back to life to show you that there's nothing more powerful than my light and my love. I'm here to show you that in this moment, it seems like whoever has the biggest bombs wins in the Middle East or wins in Europe or wins whoever that is. But let me tell you, there's a force greater than any bomb that's ever been created. And it's the love bomb of God that says, I can transform hearts from the inside out. And he says, come along, that poor, lowly Savior. Stand next to him and realize that in your poverty, or let me say it this way, in your powerlessness, you can trample over anything. Why? Because when you realize that in your weakness, you receive his power, you get the greatest power the world has ever created. When you say this, God, I'm gonna trust you, your life, death, and resurrection, to pay the price for my sin, transform me from within so that I can now not only experience your peace in my heart, experience my peace in this, but experience peace with God forever. In my poverty, I experience the strength of God. Countercultural to everything we've ever lived or been taught. But this is the teaching of Jesus. Everything else you trust other than him will fail you. So will you trust him more than you trust anything, anyone, or trust him more than you trust yourself? This is where peace begins. It begins within, but it will transform everything. But we'll get there next week. So let's just stop in this moment. I want to invite you just to sit comfortably, put your feet on the ground, close your eyes, take a deep breath in and out. And in this moment, just between you and God, I've got some questions of a prayer I want to teach you. But let's begin with this. If you're here today and for the very, very first time in your life, you want to say, I want to trust God more than I trust myself. I want to trust his life, death, and resurrection to save me from my sin, to trust that he is greater, his powerful is more than mine, and I want to do it his way instead of my way. If for the very first time you want to say, I want to trust God and be a follower of Jesus, if that's you this morning, will you just go ahead and raise your hand so I can pray for you? Yes, I see you. And yes in the back. If you're here this morning and you say, no, I've decided to be a follower of Jesus, but I left his city, his fortifications. I did it my way for a long time. And I want to come back to that Kyria. I want to come back to trusting Jesus more than I trust myself. If that's you this morning, again, will you just raise your hand so I can pray with you? Yes. Yes, hands all over. Thank you for your honesty. Yes, welcome back. And for all of us, I have a prayer that I hope brings you peace. First, take a big breath in and out. What I want to teach you is a breath prayer that I hope brings peace to you now, but also is a way for you to find peace deep within whatever comes your way. As you breathe in, imagine, or in a single word in your own head or heart, breathe in, what do you need from God? And breathe out what you've been holding on to or what's been holding on to you. God, I breathe in peace. And I breathe out anxiety. I breathe in trust. And I breathe out control. I breathe in forgiveness. And I breathe out bitterness. Whatever your word may be, what you need from God and what you need to let go of, in this moment, in the simplicity of your breathing, lean on him. In this moment of silent prayer that we experience together, as we pray, the peace of God begins within you in this very moment. As we pray this morning, I sense God wanting to tell you that you are not alone. You are not alone because if you are his friend and his follower, he lives inside of you and is closer than you could ever be. I want to invite you, if you need prayer for anything, there'll be people here on the front sides who would love to pray with you. You may be anxious. What are people going to think about me? They're going to think that you're someone who's trusting God more than you trust yourself, and will honor that step. There's some of you who God is inviting to sit in the silence, reassured in him. Some who he's inviting to stand and sing and celebrate from the depth of who you are. But what God wants to tell you this morning is he is here, in you, with you, and around you. And there's nothing more powerful than him. And he says there's nothing more precious to him than you. And he's inviting you to receive his Christmas gift of perfect peace this morning. Let's receive that gift this morning.
Watch him work it for your good. He's not done with what he started. He's not done until it's good. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. If you're ready for a breakthrough, open up and just receive. Yeah. What he's pouring out is nothing you've ever seen. You've ever seen. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. It's a new day. Fear is not my future. You are. Sickness is not my story. You are. Heartbreak's not my home. You are. You are. Death is not the end. You are. You are. Fear is not my future. You are. You are. Sickness is not my story. You are. You are. Heartbreak's not my home. You are. You are. Death is not the end. You are. You are. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Fear is not my future. You are. You are. Sickness is not my story. You are. You are. Heartbreak's not my home. You are. You are. Death is not the end. You are.
Come on, give them some praise this morning. Hey, bless you guys. Have an awesome, awesome rest of your week. We'll see you guys next time.
Fear is not my future. You are.